Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up weekdays. Catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in good spirits as it should, because we need that positivity and we need more awareness on all these unbelievable and unthinkable cases that we've been covering as of late. We started off today with great news as far as Bryson Muir. Great news. Him being found and all that. But at the same time, let's be real. The fight still continues. The awareness still continues. And we're going to keep on talking and keep on bringing awareness to all these cases till I'm blue in the face. Just saying that out loud. So I caught wind on this particular case. This is still very, very new to me. And this is very wild. But nonetheless, we are here to talk about it because I want to bring some awareness to you guys and let you guys know what the heck is going on out here in these crazy, crazy streets, especially hopefully getting us closer to justice for these two and possibly multiple adopted children. We'll talk about that in just a minute. So please do me a favor. Before we get into everything, please hit that like button down below. Crush it. Make it scream out your name. You know the deal. All right. Do that thizzang. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on Facebook. If you're watching on any of these other platforms, please be sure to do that solid for me. That would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And of course, if you're watching on those platforms, please be sure to hit that follow button on my Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. Hit those follow buttons over there on my social medias. And of course, if you're watching on my main channel right here on YouTube, crush that subscribe button, please and thank you. Okay, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Of course, hit that join button down below. Become a member of the family. I know someone just gifted a member, I think, just in the beginning of the show. We're going to give a shout out to them here in a second. But do check out that join button down below and become a member of the family. Okay, that would be amazing. Also, if you want to support even further, go and check out my Patreon, patreon.com/The Pascal Show. It is going down the ticker underneath me right now as we speak. That would be amazing. Okay. And of course, please go check out and subscribe to my secondary channel. All right. Where I'm doing more summarized breakdowns of these longer shows. Cause I know not every day can you do or watch a full hour and a half, 2 hours to 3 hours, sometimes 4 hour show. So I'm trying to do more summarized pieces on the second channel. Okay. All right, guys, let's get into this. All right. Like I said, this is still fairly new to me, this case, but I did want to bring awareness to you guys. And what's interesting about this particular case, this comes out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. This is a case that's been going on for a while. In fact, these kids have been missing for years. And now we're starting to hear that they may have been, there's now connection to murder, that the adoptive mother could be the reason why these two, possibly more kids, you never know, have gone missing. Apparently, human remains were found in the backyard on the property of this adoptive mother's property in a burn barrel. Possible human remains. And they could very well be the remains of one or both of these two individuals. Blake, the young boy in the photo, he's not really young anymore, but Blake Deven and London Deven. They allegedly were adopted by this piece of work, Avantae Deven. And in fact, I don't even know if that's really her real name. Let's keep it real. I don't even know if that's her real name. I also will say this too. I'm also catching wind that Blake, the boy, and London, the girl in this photo, these aren't their names either. These aren't even their real names either, which is very interesting. And they all go by the Devens because of this piece of work right here, Avantae. It's very interesting. But nonetheless, family members of these two, we're gonna take her face off, the devil. But allegedly, family members, at least of Blake's side, the young boy, or the photo of this young boy here, they're saying they haven't even seen him, the likes of him, for years. They basically say the same thing about London as well. In fact, they said that this young boy Blake, ran off to a Buddhist retreat. I'm not kidding. A Buddhist retreat. This is what she claims. This is what Avantae claims. And of course, the family has not seen this young boy or this young man now, okay? Because he would be in his teens, if I'm correct, by now. They haven't seen him in years. They say about 5 years or so, which is very, very interesting. Nonetheless, we got a lot to look into. We got some news clips, etc., because this is something that's been percolating for a while. And of course, it all is because of this massively dangerous and volatile, monstrous human being, Avantae Deven. Again, if that is her real name. So let's get into this, okay? But real quick, before we get into everything, okay, I want to say a big thank you to S-Dubs. Thank you so much for gifting one membership. That really does mean a lot, okay? It takes a village, all right? And I love the positivity. And all I ask is whoever got that new membership, please pay it forward. Do something positive for somebody. Buy somebody a Coke. Buy somebody a coffee. Give somebody a hug. Call your mama. Call your daddy. Call whoever has been supporting you and holding you down since day one. Okay, call one of your day ones. All right, and just say thank you. All right, pay it forward. That's all I ask. All right. Now, we got a few things we're going to look at, okay? And like I said, it's been a bunch of different things. There's been a bunch of different articles and a bunch of different videos covering this for a while. It's been around for it's been around for months, to be really honest. But this new development has happened as of the last few days, okay? So let's get into this, all right? And of course, Court TV just said, what's up, Court TV? They could use a Dr. Pepper. You know those diet Dr. Peppers? They're fire. I'm just going to say, now I am craving a diet Dr. Pepper right now. Dag nabbit. I shouldn't have clicked on that because, I don't drink soda very often, okay? But when I do, it's a craving and it hits hard. I will say that. But let's get into this, all right? First thing, we got to take a look at this here, okay? Adoptive mother told cops son ran away to Buddhist retreat. And I'm telling you right now, these are the most diabolical, okay? Like we were just talking about the Muir family, or the parents at least, okay? And I'm now understanding that there are more than just one kid, that the Muirs had more than just one kid. Just so you guys know, I know that's a little bit of a left turn and it's not on this subject matter, but I just wanted to let you know. There's multiple kids that Daniel and Kristen Muir had that they brought into the world. So God only knows how many other kids, how many other of these other children were actually getting disciplined in that type of way, the same way that Bryson was getting attacked. Just something to think about. But I digress. You notice at that time, they hid on a compound. Thank God, okay, that Bryson was still alive and kicking, right? But this particular person, Avantae, okay, if that's her real name, I'm going to keep saying that until I'm blue in the face too. But still, She claims that the young boy Blake Deven ran off to a Buddhist retreat. Okay? But she actually stopped him from eating. And daughter, okay, starved them both. Okay, and I can't use that word very often on this platform, unfortunately, which is really annoying, but hey, all right. And then apparently burned the bodies. This is what police are claiming. And of course, like I said, they found a burn barrel in the backyard with human remains in it, skeletal remains in it. Now, I know a lot of you guys might be going, what is a burn barrel? Well, it looks kind of like that. Let me blow this up for you guys so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Burn barrels are like this, People use it and burn multiple things in them, so on and so forth. Okay? Just so you guys know what the heck a burn barrel is. But in the backyard, burn barrel, human remains, skeletal remains were found in the burn barrel, just so you guys know. But let's get into this, okay? So North Carolina mother is behind bars after the remains of 2 of her adoptive children were found burned in a barrel. And they had been there for years, cops allege. Now, I want you to know, okay? I want you guys to know, again, that these kids had not been seen for years. And I'm hopping back and forth because I want to show you guys for sure. Right here, the investigation began with a 911 call in November when one of Avantae's children told police he had not seen Blake in 5 whole years. This is what police said. During the investigation, authorities learned of the disappearance of another child from the same household identified as London, police said in their statement. Don't worry, we're going to come back to this in a second, but I just wanted to give you an idea. For 5 whole years, and this young boy was not reported missing by Avantae or anyone else for years, guys. Pretty wild stuff, to say the least. So let's continue on here. So Avantae, 63, is facing 2 counts of first-degree M, concealment of demise, kidnapping, and felony child A, the Fayetteville Police Department said in a press release. She's accused of taking the life of Blake Deven and London Deven, the latter of whom had special needs. Blake hadn't been seen since 2022, while London Deven was last spotted in 2019. Let me tell you again, people haven't seen these kids. They were saying that when it came to Blake, for example, like I said, one of the kids said they hadn't seen him in 5 whole years. So they say Blake hadn't been seen since 2022, but that's only 2 years ago, baby. That's 2 whole years. So you're telling me he hasn't been seen since 2019, really? So who said that he was seen in 2022 if he hadn't been seen in 5 years? You see what I'm saying? The math ain't mathing, but we're going to keep on going. Police initially thought that, of course, that, or Blake hadn't been seen since 2022. London was last spotted in 2019. This is what police initially thought. But their mother didn't report them missing until March of this year. So you got these 2 kids that have been missing for that long. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, in March, that's when Avantae goes, oh, yeah, I haven't seen I haven't seen Blake or London in so long. Man, maybe I should call in and make a report that they're missing. Of this year, by the way, guys. Just a few months ago. March. Springtime. Yeah, that actually happened. Let's continue on. The investigation began when cops responded to the Deven home in November for someone going through a mental crisis, a mental health crisis. This is what they said at a press conference. So I'm still wondering who this someone was that went through this mental health crisis. Was it Avantae herself, or was it one of the kids, one of her adopted kids, one of her foster kids? I'm actually kind of curious about that. The person who had the crisis later told detectives that he hadn't seen his brother, Blake Deven, in 5 years, and the last time he saw him, he had a broken arm. This is what the chief of police of Fayetteville said. Police began investigating and later learned another person in the family, London Deven, was also missing. The mother had adopted 3 boys and 2 girls, including London Deven, who required assistance because she was special needs. Sergeant Jeff Locklear said Avantae tried to throw investigators off the right trail. Initially, she was giving us a story that Blake was possibly at a Buddhist retreat in the mountains. What? She also said the same story to a 911 dispatcher when she reported them missing in March. He's generally religious. He used to go back and forth about a Buddhist retreat, but this time he never called back. My daughter did one once for 6 months, and she called. So I thought, okay, he's really independent, strong, and brave and bossy, so it's not really unlikely of his character. And this was a call obtained by the Raleigh ABC affiliate, WTVD. Further investigation showed this was a lie. With the help of the FBI, cops searched the home where the family lived from November 2016 to June 2019. They moved on to another property, okay? They had moved. They have since moved, okay? But they were there for 3 years, just about. On the property, detectives found a burn barrel with partial human remains. Last week, the results came back that the remains belonged to 2 people, a female aged 15 to 19 and a male aged 7 to 10. The female was identified as London Deven, while the male is still not identified, but it is believed to be Blake Deven. According to Locklear, investigators believe that the mother would force the kids into a dark room and give them little to no food. Avantae Deven, this piece of trash, allegedly said the kids could earn food by writing hundreds of paragraphs to apologize for their behavior. And I keep wondering, what kind of behavior? What did they do that was so bad that would garner them having to write hundreds of paragraphs to apologize for their behavior? Locklear said after the boy and woman passed, she made someone from the home help her dispose of the bodies in the burn barrel. They likely passed sometime before 2019 when they lived at home where the remains were discovered, according to Locklear. And of course, she is being held, this piece of work, this piece of trash, okay, garbage, Avantae Deven, is being held at the Cumberland County Detention Center with no bond right now. But this woman is facing many, many charges for the unaliving of these 2 young kids. Now, this woman allegedly did adopt many kids. There were many kids that went through her house, right? That were adopted, they were there, then they move on, so on and so forth, okay? So we got a few things that we got to look at, and we got some articles and all that we're going to look at as well, but still, this is some pretty crazy stuff, and my mind is still really, I'm still trying to process that there's literally this kind of evil that's out here in the world, Okay. I don't even like seeing their faces right next to her face. So we're just going to pull up her face. All right. This kind of evil does actually exist. And it is named Avantae, if that's her real name. But still, this is a dangerous woman. Very dangerous woman. And she was out here in plain sight for a very long time, doing God knows what to all these kids and then some. Like I said, there may be more kids. I know that sounds a little bit more like, oh, Pascal, you reaching. But think about this for a second. If she was able to do whatever she did to these kids back then, starve them, basically, rid them of food, torture them, do all those things that she did to those kids, you're telling me that only 2 of these kids didn't survive? We're talking about littles here, guys. Delicate little lives. These are the only 2? Then on top of it, let's not forget the fact that no one knew about them being gone, that they were missing for years. This also tells me something about the system, and it scares me. It really does scare me about the system. I know there's a lot of people that have gone through the system, right? That have been adopted, that have gone through a lot of foster homes and all that stuff. And hey, a lot of y'all have been able to grow up without any mental scarring, no physical scarring or anything like that. And I applaud you guys. I'm so happy for you guys having good foster homes, good foster parents, and having a good adoptive experience. But then we see this, the dark underbelly of the system. The thing that we all fear is that these kids are going to get thrown right into the system, and then all of a sudden they're going to meet someone like Avantae. It's scary, but it is very much something that we should be concerned about. Because it does exist. There are evil mother lovers in the system that are doing this kind of stuff, and they're also scooping a bag. That's the truth. All of them are scooping a bag. Think about that too. And I keep wondering, how are they doing? Because I don't know how the system works. You know what I'm saying? I'm just speaking from the heart. And speaking from as a person that is concerned just like you, just like anybody else. And I keep wondering, are they constantly going and doing checks all the time? Just check-ins, seeing how things are going at the house with that adoptive family, with those adoptive parents, so on and so forth. Because sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it might not be the parents that are evil. It could be the kid it could be one of the siblings within the household that could be bad, right? That's doing bad things to another adopted kid. I'm just saying. I hate to say those things, but those things do exist, right? So I keep wondering, are they doing, sounds weird, but checkups? Are they doing check-ins? Are they showing up and be like, hey, randoms too, just random checkups, just checking to see how things are, how Blake is taking to the new household and taking to you, Avantae. Just wanted to check in, see how things are going. He's been here for a couple months. We just wanted to do a check-in. How's it been? Has he been cooperative? Has he been dealing? How is he dealing with the change of environment, the change in his life? Is he adjusting well? Is he okay? Do they do that? Because if they aren't doing it, damn it, I wish they would. That would help the situation tremendously. Because there's no way that you could tell me that this young kid, at least with Blake, you cannot tell me that Blake, no one said anything for years? For years. For years. Now, you got to remember, these are obviously older photos, and all that. But at the same time, I wonder, when are these photos? How accurate, how recent? I feel like if they said 16 to 19, I'm thinking London may not have looked like this in the photo that she looks like in this photo. She may have gotten a little older, but with Blake, seems fairly, maybe right on the nose. But it is scary, guys. Like I said, hold on real quick. Thank you, Dr. Ed. What up, man? Thank you so much. Thank you, Pascal. Just Julie. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming in and being a part of the conversation. Thank you so much for the support. It means a lot. Sapira, thank you so much for the support. Love and support from France. Hey, bonjour, comment vas-tu? Les fromages, les enfants. Okay. Désolé. Anyway, thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much, Sapira. I appreciate it. Melly Mel, thank you so much. Melly, gifting. And also, thank you, Tipsy, for gifting too. Please pay it forward if you can. Okay. Do something positive with that. Okay. French toast. Okay, I'm done. But I got a couple of videos, guys, and we got some more articles we're going to look into. So let's get straight into some of these videos.
Breaking news in Fayetteville. Police have arrested Avantae Deven and charged her with murder and kidnapping. She adopted Blake and London Deven, who've been missing for years. The police department says they now believe the siblings are dead. They also say the two, along with other children, were held in small rooms, starved and brutally beaten in that house.
We have live team coverage. WRL's Heidi Kirk is explaining the evidence police say led to this arrest. We begin with WRL's Chris Lovingood, who has been speaking with people connected to this case since police first announced the boy's disappearance. Chris?
We return now to the... Deborah, we know Avantae Deven had 5 children who she adopted, including one woman who used to go by the name Cherish Deven, but now goes by the name Brianna Morrow. In fact, I talked to her not too long ago, and I want to play for the first time here on WREL part of my conversation with her.
Now, real quick, I want to, before we go into this interview, okay, I want to point something out. Again, he said her name is Brianna, if I'm correct. Hold on. I'm going to let him say that intro one more time.
5 children who she adopted, including one woman who used to go by the name Cherish Deven, but now goes by the name Brianna Morrow.
Brianna Morrow. Now, the reason why I say this is because Cherish is not her real name. I think that when she was adopted by Avantae, if that's her real name, I think she was like, nope, I'm calling you Cherish now. Your name is Cherish. From this point on, you have been knighted as Cherish. And Brianna Morrow doesn't exist anymore. Same thing with Blake and with London. I don't think that those are their actual names. I think that they were named those names, right? By Avantae. You are now Deven's children. You are no longer your original names. When you walk into this house, you are under the Deven family name. That's what I think. Crazy types of ownership. Because why would she suddenly change her name to Brianna? To me, it sounds like she was named Cherish. Maybe forced to be named Cherish. But then as soon as she got emancipated from that house, she said, nah, I'm going back to my original name because I do not want to claim this. Or she may have changed it because she doesn't want to claim being a part of that family, which I don't blame her either. Okay, either choice, still feasible, still possible. But let's continue. Let's hear what the family member, okay, one of the other adopted children that went through this stuff, what she has to say.
In fact, I talked to her not too long ago, and I want to play for the first time here on WREL part of my conversation with her. Brianna Morrow talked to me last month in an interview we are now airing for the first time because Avantae Deven has been charged. Morrow described what she experienced.
Being locked in the bathroom, having to, if we weren't locked in the bathroom, having to use pails as the restroom. There were a lot of beatings because we would steal for food just to survive.
She spoke with me about the abuse she says they suffered.
She would just
Now, like I said, the fact that they were going and using the bathroom, using a pail as a bathroom, and the fact that they would have to steal to eat is insane. And again, where's the system? Where are the adoptive services going in and checking in on these children? Because this is scary. This is really scary. We just talked about a young boy that was in the clutches of very terrible parents that has now been emancipated from his parents and now is with Child Protective Services. Okay, we just talked about Bryson. But now in my mind, I'm going, okay, wait a second. What's going to happen next for Bryson? Because he could go from one traumatic experience from his own parents that brought him into the world into a whole other traumatic experience with people he doesn't even know. Who's watching the watchers? You see what I'm saying? Who is watching these people? Just saying.
just drag you down by your hair and beat you.
Fayetteville police say the children were forced to do paperwork, something Morrow says became their only way to get food.
And the older you got, the more paragraphs you had to do. So by the time I was 15, I was doing from top to the page to the bottom of the page, and that would count as one page. So imagine one page, 2,000 pages.
She mentioned locks on the fridge and cabinets and being locked in the bathroom for long periods of time.
Days at a time. It was very horrible. You know, there were days where we didn't go with showers. We didn't go with baths. The only time we could turn on the bathtub or the sink was to get water.
Can you imagine this? Like I said, okay? And this, oh man, I'm so glad somebody else said it too. Bayou, down by the bayou, babe. Yes, okay? Look at Harmony. Harmony Montgomery, perfect example of someone that was going through some serious stuff, some serious torment by her own biological, okay? I don't even want to say dad. I can't even say dad, but you know what I'm saying, all right? Adam Montgomery. I mean, like I said, it is so terrifying that we have all these. It just, it hurts my soul so much. It just aggravates me so much. It just aggravates me. There are so many kids out here that are going through this right now as we speak, and a lot of them don't even know if they have anywhere to get help. They don't even know that there's somebody out there wanting to help. They're literally just lost. And that just scares the crap out of me. It just scares, oh man, that aggravates me, man. Okay, let's continue.
And those are just hard details to hear, but it's also been a hard day for Blake Deven's biological mother. In fact, I talked to her minutes after police had revealed that her son was dead.
Just in shock. It just took my breath away. I wasn't expecting to hear about 2 remains at the time.
And again, that was Blake's biological mother you heard from there. But today, what's also a new point of this is we're seeing Avantae Deven for the first time today. In fact, she's the adoptive mother and the woman accused of these murders. And right now, WRAL's Heidi Kirk is in the neighborhood where Avantae Deven lives. And Heidi, you were in the exact same room with me today as police were revealing what exactly happened here.
Chris, and today when police shared those jarring details, it was just absolutely a shock to hear some of those things. Now, Avantae Deven was booked here at the Cumberland County Jail where I'm standing earlier today, and now she's facing 7 charges for the murder of Blake and London Deven.
Fayetteville police say it all started with a call about a mental health crisis at Avantae Deven's home on Berrydale Drive. As police investigated, the person in crisis said the last time they'd seen their brother, Blake, was 5 years ago. And that led to the appalling details we learned today about how they say Avantae treated all 5 of her adopted kids.
Avantae Deven is said to have kept them in small rooms in complete darkness at times. They were given little food. They were given little or no food.
Starvation and torture. That's how Fayetteville police say Blake Deven died years ago at the family's first Fayetteville home on Eichelberger Drive.
We believe he was mentally abused. He was physically starved, and his body could no longer take the inhumane treatment. Then Avantae developed a plan to hide Blake's remains, and she forced another person in the household to participate.
They say London Deven, who was an adult with special...
And we do have the press conference, so we are going to be looking at that here very shortly. And just so you guys know, this is all coming from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Just so you know, okay, Sandwich, this is all coming from North Carolina. All right? All right, let's continue.
...needs died the same way. Her remains found in a burn bin at their current home.
They say she passed the same way, London. Same treatment. My assumption, and I'm assuming that they passed around the same time. That's kind of what I keep thinking. That's just what I think, unless this was over a course of time. Because you got to remember, the last time someone ever allegedly saw London was 2019. They say that there was a sighting of Blake in 2022, yet there are there's other adoptive children that say they haven't seen Blake in 5 whole years. So it does make you wonder, what is the timeline here? Did he pass with her? Were they both basically almost like locked away in the same room, just starving? That's the thing that I'm kind of curious about. Like I said, the timeline is weird here. Like what we read a little bit ago, they said that they initially believed that that's what they initially believed, that he was seen in 2022. But from my understanding, it looks like what happened here was in 2019, all of this. So I feel like both of them lost their lives around the same time or within the same year. And then this woman has the audacity still to report them missing in March of 2020, at least Blake, reporting him missing in 2024. And the question still remains, why? If no one was out here wondering where he was for 5 whole years, why did she suddenly report him missing in March of this year? I'm just curious. Think about that for a second. Does that make sense to you? He suddenly goes, or they suddenly go, hey. Or she suddenly goes, hey, I need to report him missing now. Why now? Why? Jem just said she was probably getting nervous. Maybe. You know what I mean? But like I said, it's just so odd to me. Okay? So odd. Sorry, I'm just looking at things. Lily Smith as well. School, neighbors, friends, nobody noticed. Yeah, we're going to be hearing some accounts from actual neighbors as well, which is weird too. Like I said, I'm not sitting here saying that it's the neighbor's responsibility to always be nosy, but it is interesting that they didn't notice, or it doesn't seem like they noticed anything strange. I mean, they knew that this woman was strange, but they didn't say anything about kids disappearing or anything. You see what I'm saying? So it's very, very interesting. I'm going to roll this back a tiny bit so we can hear this information that they're about to tell us about the charges that she's got coming, or that she's looking at right now.
Force another person in the household to participate.
They say London Deven, who was an adult with special needs, died the same way. Her remains found in a burn bin at their current home. Avantae is facing charges of 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of concealment of death, 1 count of kidnapping, and 2 counts of felony child abuse.
Now, hold on. I just want to show you all those. Okay. And I was just about normal, okay, normal, my girl normal. Thank you, normal. Because I was just about to pull that up and go, is this a DP state? Is this a DP state? Because these are 2 first degree M's that she's looking at on littles. And I was about to say, is it a DP state? Could she be looking at not only just being a resident of the state for the rest of her natural life? Could they actually shorten her natural life? Could they, flip the switch or inject something and call it a day? Okay. And in some places, it's a firing squad, or I guess according to Idaho. So I'm kind of curious. Will she be facing the DP? I'm thinking probably. I'm gonna say that. I'm thinking probably. And it's injections only? Okay. Thank you, S-Dubs. That's good to know. Interesting to know. So she could possibly be fighting for her life here very, very soon. She's being held without bond right now, guys. Okay? Without bond. It is North Carolina, though. So I'm not surprised about the DP. I'm going to be real. Some of these southern states, they don't mess around. You feel me? But let's continue on. She's looking at some serious charges, guys. She could be getting the DP because let's not forget the things that she's done to these kids and multiple kids to begin with. To also add on top of it, she could be looking at some serious problems here very soon. Let's continue on.
Felony child abuse. These images sent to us by a viewer show the scene outside her home this morning when she was arrested. The vehicle in the driveway towed away, and animal control on the scene.
Now, Deven has her first court appearance tomorrow at 2:30 here in Cumberland County. Chris?
And Heidi, you know what? Today I actually made a call to the last person listed as Avantae Deven's lawyer. I asked if there was any sort of comment when the person on the other end of the line answered. And they said right now that lawyer is currently at a medical leave. But anytime I have tried to ask for details, I've been told from that office, no comment. And again, just to reiterate what Heidi was talking about a little bit ago, this all sort of kicked off because of that mental health crisis call. A boy telling Fayetteville Police that he had not seen his brother, Blake Deven, in 5 years. And that point right there is just the start of a lengthy timeline of events.
Now, this is, again, weird. Okay, because again, this makes me think of Harmony Montgomery. This makes me think of a bunch of other cases that we've been covering or have covered in the past. You're telling me that no one saw him at all for 5 years, not even his own biological family. No one. Again, like what somebody said in a comment, schools, neighbors, nobody sat there going, "Hey, where's little Blake at? Where's Blake at? In fact, where's London?" I remember seeing London coming in and out, and she was always so kind. Where London at? Nobody asked nothing? Were they all homeschooled or something? And even so, that's scary too. To think that there is the fact that those kids are all being homeschooled and they're being homeschooled by this monster. See, Kimbo, that's crazy, right? That's odd. That's very, no one checked on them for 5. Do you realize how many Christmases that is? No one called in to be like, "Hey, I just want to say Merry Christmas to my kid." Mind you, with all due respect, I know that the families are going through some serious stuff, all of them, okay, that are connected to this particular case. But I'm still wondering, you're telling me that no one, that's a lot of Christmases, guys. That's 5 whole Christmases No contact with your kid for 5 Christmases? Your own kid? Okay, and let me just say this, okay, to throw benefit of the doubt, okay, because I'm not here to try to attack or talk down at any family. Seriously, I'm not. All right, because I can only imagine, and literally, my heart goes out to the family, all family members that are deeply, deeply affected by this situation. But I do have a question here, though. Oh, yeah. Let's not forget, Lily, you got a point on Facebook. You got a point. Birthdays, too. I don't know why I instantly thought, Christmases, but, that's a time of holiday, family time, all that stuff, right? Same thing with birthdays, right? You're telling me that unless, let's go on the other side really quick, unless this woman was that crafty that every single time that there was a Christmas or a birthday, the kids were gone. Oh, they're gone. They're off doing this thing. They're Chuck E. Cheese's. They're at Dave and Buster's. Oh, Blake, he's out there. He's busy hiking with some of his friends. He's on a camping trip. Like, I'm wondering what was said, right? I'm wondering what was said here to deter the families from actually getting in contact with their own blood, with their own seed. Because remember, let me remind you, we just saw a clip from news, and Blake's biological mother was reacting. And of course, she was heartbroken and sad. But there was no conversation. I'd want to ask the mom, hey, for those 5 years that he was allegedly gone for, did you just straight up believe Avantae, saying that he just went off with the Buddhists? Or did you try to reach out and she just kept finessing you over and over and over again? I'm just curious. Like I said, not here to knock family at all. Okay? Not at all. But I am quite curious about that. We're going to circle back to the mom's interview and all that too. Real talk. Okay? So let's continue on. All right? That's so weird. Did she just finesse them, lie to them, and make them believe that they were out there doing something else for 5 years? I don't know. At week 2, I'd be like, at week 1, actually, I'd be like, no, I need you to FaceTime me, my son. I want to see Blake. I want to see London if London had family. Okay, because she was in the system too. But I'd be wondering something. Like, it just seems weird to me, guys. With all due respect, it just seems a bit odd.
So disturbing. Chris, thank you. Public documents reveal Blake Deven was reported missing in January of this year.
In some reports, they say January, and some reports we're hearing in March. So that's interesting, too.
The police did not ask for help to find him until March 2nd. A month later, April 4th, police added the boy's sister, London Deven, to the search. And on April 8th, the FBI agents and police officers searched the home on Berrydale Drive where officers say the children lived. On April 12th, the department found partial skeletal remains that would take weeks or months to identify, they said. We have a full timeline, including much more.
Okay, wait, hold on. We got to look at that timeline one more again. So he was reported missing in January. Okay.
Reported missing in January of this year. Fayetteville Police did not ask for help to find him until March 2nd.
Why did it take so long for them to be asked? Fayetteville that's interesting. Police asked for assistance. That's weird, right?
A month later, April 4th, police added the boy's sister, London Deven, to the search. And on April 8th, the FBI agents and police officers searched the home on Berrydale Drive where officers say the children lived.
Wild. Right? It's odd. This is odd, right? So he's reported missing, I guess, according to WRAL, January. Not until March did they say, okay, we need some help, asking for extra help in finding this, in finding Blake. Then a few weeks later, they report that she's also missing too, London. Because people are sitting there going, okay, like, All right. He's not anywhere to be found. In fact, have we seen London anywhere? The heck is London Deven at, right? Then FBI searched the old home, and that's when they find the skeletal remains. But of course, they had to do their due diligence, run tests and all that stuff to make sure, proof positive, that those, one, are human remains, and two, that those human remains are that of these two missing kids. This is some crazy stuff, guys. I need you guys to realize that this is kind of scary. This is a scary realization. And let me just say let me just explain. This is a scary realization that people can literally just disappear like this without anybody asking where they at for years. Imagine that. Imagine that. You're going to an event. Avantae is going out, this devil woman. Okay, the devil is going out there to maybe events or something like that. Oh, how are the kids? Oh, yeah, they're fine. You know, and she can make up whatever the hell she wants. Okay? She can make up whatever the hell they want. No one was actually looking in and checking in on these kids. Not once. Now, I get it. Some kids are brought into the world and they don't have biological parents checking in on them, if you get what I'm saying. They're put into the system. As soon as they're born, they're put into the system, right? Or maybe something tragic happens, whatever, right? They're taken from a volatile household and they're put into the system, kind of like what happened with Bryson and what could potentially happen to Bryson unless grandma gets in front of that and scoops up that kid and brings him home, right? And keeps him as far away from that Daniel Muir. That's what I say, right? But with that being said, not every kid is lucky to have a grandma or auntie or extended family that love and care for them, right? Or at least will continue to keep an eye on them, right? Some kids are just born into the world with no one claiming them. So for them to actually disappear, scary. How it seems very easy for them to disappear, if you get what I'm saying. Because there's no one checking in on them. Blake's situation, though, it's not that case. He had family, and yet he still disappeared for 5 years. He had foster brothers and sisters that were saying, haven't seen him in 5 whole years. We got more. I'm sorry. I'm still wondering how this happens, right? How this happens. And it's scary. It's a scary realization that someone could just go like, that someone could just up and vanish. Now, I know we've talked about this on many other cases, but I'm talking about cases that don't turn into cases until somebody actually goes, yeah, police, yeah, my adoptive son has been missing. Yeah, he's been gone for 5 years. What? He's been missing for how long? And you're now reporting it? You see what I'm saying? Same thing with Harmony Montgomery. She was missing for a while as well. Remember? Family hadn't seen her. Hadn't seen her for a long time until they finally made a report that she was actually missing. And that's scary. That's scary, guys. That kids can just go up and just disappear like this. Or a person can just up and disappear. And they don't become a story. They don't become a concern until years later. Years later. It's very, very just scary, man. It is scary. But let me continue on. So real quick, before we go into everything else, let me share with you guys the actual press conference itself, because I think that we can get everything broken down within that press conference. Okay. But let me grab a couple of these super chats, just a few. We're not going to read all of them right now. I'll get to the rest of them, I promise. But S-Dubs, thank you so much. Do you really speak French? A little bit, tiny bit. Okay. A tiny bit. All right. S-Dubs, thank you so much again. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for gifting. And all I ask is for you to, the person who just got gifted, please, pay it forward. Charlie Miller, what's up, man? Thank you so much. Seems to me everybody dropped the ball. It does kind of feel like that, doesn't it? Just a skosh. Okay. And I say that with all the love and all the respect in my heart. Okay. And I'll get to the other super chats here in just a little bit, but that again is scary stuff. Okay. So let me share with you guys the actual press conference. Let's take a look at that. We're not going to watch the entire thing, but let's take a look at some of it. Okay.
All right. Good afternoon. I'm Chief Kim Braden of the Fayetteville Police Department. Thank you for coming today. I know some of you have traveled a great distance over only a few hours' notice. We have an important news to share, a significant update to an investigation that has understandably attracted a lot of attention from our community and beyond. In early April, we announced the sad news of two young people, Blake and London Deven, who were reported missing. Since then, the Fayetteville detectives, the FBI agents, have followed hundreds of leads and conducted dozens of interviews. Our investigation has led us to evidence that both Blake and London are currently deceased. This morning, between 9 and 11, we arrested the adoptive mother, Avantae Deven, at her home located at 1433 Berrydale Drive. At this time, I would like to turn over to Sergeant Locklear to provide information that he can share at this time.
Good evening.
Hold on really quick. It's not my birthday, guys. My birthday done passed. Okay. I just hadn't had time to really do a birthday stream, but we will be doing a birthday stream within the next few days or so. Okay. Just so y'all know. All right. But let's continue on. We had stories, we had things going on. All right.
My name is Sergeant Jeff Locklear, the Fayetteville Police Department's Homicide Unit. As Chief Braden said, Avantae Deven was arrested this morning. She's charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of felony child abuse, 1 count of kidnapping, 2 counts of concealment of death. Now, I'll briefly detail the evidence that has led us to these charges today. In November of 2023, officers with the Fayetteville Police Department responded to a call at the Deven home on Berrydale Drive for a mental health crisis. Officers contacted the Cumberland County Department of Social Services, who quickly responded. The victim later told officials he had not seen his brother, Blake, after he had been interviewed. That mental health crisis we're talking about, when we got there and we began to do the interviews, the victim that was going through the mental health crisis told authorities that he had not seen his brother Blake in 5 years, and that the last time he had seen him, he had a broken arm, and that he's now dead. As detectives began to unravel the facts, we discovered 5 children were adopted by Avantae Deven from 3 different North Carolina counties. The 3 boys were biologically related. The 2 girls were also adopted. They were unrelated to each other and also unrelated to the boys. In multiple interviews, information was provided detailing appalling conditions at least 3 of these children apparently grew up in. Avantae Deven is said to have kept them in small rooms in complete darkness at times. They were given little food. They were given little or no food and could earn nourishment through, by quote, doing paperwork. That means they had to write hundreds of paragraphs to apologize for behaving. It is alleged some of the children were also beaten to the point of needing medical care, but only natural cures like honey were given. The investigation uncovered.
Real quick, doesn't that remind you of Ruby Frankie and Jody Hildebrandt just a little bit? Doesn't that give you a little bit of a vibe? Remember, they were locked away whenever they would get in trouble. Most of the time, they were just locked up, right? They were shackled, and they would have sores on their wrists and feet, okay? And they would use cayenne pepper and honey, all right, to use for their wounds, right? But that was just for their wounds. For nourishment, though, this woman has the audacity to feed these kids honey, and that's it. Let's continue on, though.
Blake likely passed away while the Deven family lived at the Eichelberger Drive home. We believe he was mentally abused. He was physically starved, and his body could no longer take the inhumane treatment. Then Avantae developed a plan to hide Blake's remains, and she forced another person in the household to participate. They dismembered him and burned his remains. During a forensic search of a previous residence of the Deven family, biological evidence was located and sent to the crime lab for further testing. These items did support evidence of isolation, torture, and starvation. When investigators began to look into Blake's disappearance, they learned that 28-year-old London Deven had also not been seen in quite some time. By now, the Deven family had moved to a home on Berrydale Drive. Interviews uncovered information that a different member of the household had been forced to participate in removing London's body from that home. She is believed to have died in the same painful way, in the same painful, callous manner that Blake died from, little starvation and neglect. Additional information led Fayetteville Police Department's detectives to locate a metal burn barrel. When the contents were removed in a methodical process to preserve any evidence inside, partial human remains were found. Forensic testing confirmed the barrel contained two separate sets of human remains. One is consistent with a female between 15 to 19 years of age. The second set is consistent with a child from 7 to 10 years of age. Now, you need to keep in mind that those are general ranges.
Now, I also want to say, of course, they found this in the burn barrel. And I also wonder, because they left that premises or that property years ago before they moved into another property, or, Avantae did, right? So I wonder who actually owns or is living on the property right now, or if anybody is living on the property. That's one thing I'm kind of curious about, because that would be very, very scary to think that that burn barrel that you have in the backyard that's been sitting there forever had human remains in it. Is a key piece to an ongoing investigation, to a huge case, and could be is the thing that basically blew the lid off of this case. Imagine if you got somebody who's actually living there and they're like, wow, I've used that barrel a lot, not knowing that down there in the soot somewhere in the bottom of that barrel are human remains. Some scary stuff, guys. Some scary, scary stuff. Do me a favor, guys, okay? It would help a lot. Hit that like button down below, please. Let's get it past 300 likes. That would really mean a lot. All right. And of course, do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Subscribe, please, and thank you. Okay. Hit that follow button if you're watching on other platforms. That'd be greatly appreciated. Okay. But yes. Who found them in the barrel? From my understanding, is from King Bob. It's from them investigating. It's from law enforcement. If I'm correct, law enforcement went there and found it in the barrel. So it wasn't like just some random person. It wasn't like the person who's possibly renting the property, finding it in the bottom of this barrel. From my understanding, they went there, they combed the area, they searched the area and found it in this barrel. Okay. Pretty crazy stuff, but let's continue on.
Due to the condition of the remains and the need to expedite the testing, we sent the remains to a private accredited lab. In the last week, the first round of testings confirmed one set of remains belongs to London Deven. Testing on the second set of human remains is ongoing. Fayetteville detectives have confirmed Blake Deven has been missing since 2017. Avantae only reported Blake missing after our investigation began. Avantae never reported London missing. The last confirmed independent sighting of London was in 2019. Even though London was an adult, she had special needs and depended on Avantae to care for her. I'm going to turn it back over to Chief Braden and to open it up for questions before we open up some questions.
And I don't know how special needs, like I don't know what her her mental health was, or what what it was that made her be special needs. I don't know if it was a mental or a physical thing. That's what I'm trying to say. But nonetheless, I mean, the fact that she was being treated in this type of fashion is very scary. And again, you got somebody who is special needs, and she's special needs. She needs somebody. She would have needed somebody that was going to hold it down and be there, patient and understanding and loving. And they did not do that, right? That did not happen. But let's continue on.
It's difficult to explain the amount of work it took us to get where we're at today. The Fayetteville Police Department, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the Cumberland County District Attorney's Office have worked countless hours on this case. We did not do it alone. There are over 20 other agencies that are credited to assisting in this investigation. We will name each one of these organizations in our follow-up release. But first, I'd like to turn it back over. We'll open the floor for questions from the press.
Where specifically were the remains found that he?
Well, I was in.
So those remains.
When I was in college, there was a bar around the corner
of Cumberland County.
Is that the same address that that the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office assisted you with on that one? Okay.
What happened in March that prompted the police to put out the first press release about the incident?
Typically, go ahead, Chief.
I would say that we were tempted to initiate this investigation, looking for people who may have had information that could help us investigate further into the complaint about the missing juveniles.
Why exactly did it take this long to arrest her if the first 911 call came out a while ago, and then finally the press release that we got late March, early April, but now we're seeing an arrest? Why so long?
And there's an investigative process, to make sure that we have the case secured, we meet the elements of the crime, and we present something to the district attorney's office that's prosecutable. We want to ensure that the integrity of that case and the quality of that case is there. So,
and I understand that. My thing is, she reported that she hadn't seen Blake since late 2022. Here we are in 2024, and she's coming forward with this. At the minimum, I believe if anyone else were to do that, negligence would have been brought up way sooner.
All right. And to be fair, we have to investigate the claims and truly find out, take into account what actually happened, not just what we believe happened.
Well, what I'm getting at is this is the adoptive mother saying, I have not seen my child. The last time was in 2022. We're a year plus later. Why were charges nothing brought up since then?
Thank you.
So
great question.
Initially, she's giving us a story that Blake was possibly at a Buddhist retreat in the mountains. So of course it takes time to run that kind of information down. I'm sorry, a Buddhist retreat. I'm sorry. Yep. So there was some semblance of a story. Blake, yes, sir. There was some semblance of a story as to where he may have been, right? So it takes time. I got to say, and that I use often in the office, we'll measure twice, so we have to cut once, right?
When did you arrest her?
When did we arrest her this morning?
This morning?
Yes.
Are there any additional charges that she could be facing in relevance at all to her mother's death? Her mother died, I believe, a month ago in the hospital, and she was taken there, was on a ventilator for some time. And I believe the Cumberland County Department of Social Services even petitioned to have her removed and even have her assets frozen because of fear that Avantae Deven was exploiting her bank account.
Sure.
And I would say this, we're presenting today the charges that we fully investigated and we feel comfortable moving forward with it this time.
Where'd you arrest her?
Well, she was arrested at her home by our fugitive team, our violent criminal apprehension team. 1433 Berrydale Drive.
You mentioned that there is someone else in the home who had helped. Who was that?
We're not going to get into specifics about that. Remember, some of the things that there's some things that we just won't be able to answer.
Understood.
Last question over here.
How was she when you arrested her? Cooperative.
Interesting.
All right. I thank everybody for joining us today.
That is very interesting that, okay, and of course, they're cooperatives, so on and so forth, but it is interesting that they said, one of the reporters, and I'm very, very thankful that the reporter said what he said, is why so long, man? Why did it take so long? Why not just, you see what I'm saying? Why aren't they, getting on the up and up? But then they said, oh yeah, the Buddhist retreat, we had to look into it, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, does it take that long to really do your due diligence on the Buddhist retreat? Okay, that's a little bit odd, in my personal opinion. It's a little bit odd, but we do have the 911 call. I want to play that for you guys here real quick before we continue on, because yeah, like I said, all of it is it's just very interesting. And again, I asked the same thing, just like all those journalists that were in the room for that press conference. Why did it take so damn long? Let's take a listen to this 911 call, shall we?
Missing persons report.
All right.
That's time to call 911.
Alrighty, yes, ma'am. And tell me exactly who's missing.
He'll be 18 May 10th.
So your 17-year-old son is missing?
He's okay. Realize he didn't make it to 17. Just so you know. So she is saying her 17-year-old adoptive son is missing now in 2024, in January of 2024. Have mercy. Have mercy.
Yeah.
This January 19th 911 call obtained by CityViewNC.com adds even more confusion to the timeline in which Blake Deven went missing.
He is white, Caucasian with blondish brown hair.
What was he last seen wearing?
Oh, goodness. I don't even know, ma'am. He told me he was going to a Buddhist retreat and never called back.
When was that, ma'am?
A year ago.
So January 19th, 2023?
It was somewhere around there, a little before. It was on the holidays, I'd say December. But it was between Thanksgiving and December.
But Fayetteville police soon learned that it was actually August of 2022 that witnesses claimed Blake was last seen. Avantae tells the dispatcher she last spoke to Blake on the phone. As for his whereabouts at that time,
oh, goodness. I would say a restaurant.
What
I'm just trying to think what's going on. One moment now. I'm trying to backtrack here. Oh, gosh. Oh, the neighborhood mart.
A neighborhood mart?
Yes.
More than 2 months after police started investigating, they learned London Deven is also missing and hasn't been heard from in years. The 911 dispatcher continues to try to get as much information as she can, but Avantae Deven can't even provide Blake's phone number.
Do you have a good phone number for your son?
No, I don't. I don't have any phone number.
Because when he passed, he was around what? Maybe 11, 12 years old? 12 years old? And you're telling, like, would you think that he would have a phone like that? I mean, I know there's a lot of kids that have phones, right? But you think this woman would give him a phone? But it is weird that he's 17 years old, allegedly 17 years old, and he don't have a phone number? I don't care if you're on a Buddhist retreat. Even Buddhists have cell phones. I'm kidding. I don't know if they do. But still, he doesn't have a phone? Come on now. Come on.
Okay. Do you have the number he called you from?
Oh, goodness, that was a long time ago. I don't have that number. No, I don't even have that phone.
After searching the home, it's another site that police won't reveal that investigators found skeletal remains in mid-April. The state medical examiner's office is still working to determine whether they belong to Blake, London, or someone else entirely.
That's some scary stuff, guys. I mean, just to think that if you really think about it, this all probably would have gone on a lot longer if there wasn't a phone call, a 911 call made to the house because one of his adoptive brothers was having a mental breakdown and was sitting there saying, I haven't seen him in 5 years. I haven't seen him in 5 years. Also, you got to remember, this is something interesting. Tired as a mother just said this. Pascal, from what I'm reading, it is possible both children were special needs. Each would have been receiving $1,000. So if you really think about it, what if she was doing that unthinkable, but she did this unthinkable thing and didn't put out the information about their passings because she was still trying to scoop a bag? Again, that's a very interesting, if you really think about it. Think about it for a second. That's scary. And you know for a fact she's scooping a bag. She's already been scooping a bag because they said, and we've already seen, and we're going to see even more. Okay, more interview from the one of the adoptive sisters. Okay, one of the adoptive children from this house. She had many kids that would circulate. Like it was a revolving door of adoptive kids. You scoop a bag for those things. Every single child that walks in there and stays, etc., you make money. Okay? You make money. I'm sorry for saying it like that, but you do. So what if she said, I'm not going to report these things, obviously because she didn't want to get in trouble, but also on top of that, now she's getting $1,000+ every single month from London and whatever she's making from Blake, but not having to spend one dime on those kids now. She could just keep it. Now it's just profit. People, man. People. We got some more. We're kind of going back. We got another one from another video. Let's take a look at this.
Okay, so it started in Asheville, North Carolina. I would have to say the 24 Slitter Branch House in Leicester. The abuse started there with the locking us in the bathrooms after the boys were adopted and everything was finalized. Being locked in the bathroom, having to, if we weren't locked in a bathroom, having to use pails as the restroom. There were a lot of beatings because we would steal for food just to survive if Leonie couldn't come up there and give us food. As I was saying before, the paperwork, sometimes we refused to do it. So when we refused to do it, it resulted in us getting more paperwork, and the amount was too much for us to finish before we ate. And so we would result in the stealing. And when we stole, that's when we would get beaten. Same as if we disrespected her and mouthed off to her. Now, I was really mouthy when I was a teenager. The disrespect was, something that happened a lot because I was growing more into my teenage years, and I just couldn't take the discipline anymore. So I started getting mouthy, and I said, I'm not going to do the paperwork anymore. And I kind of threw the book on the floor. And so it would result in them having more paperwork, and then the stealing would get worse.
Right. When you say paperwork, you're talking about like homework, like classwork and stuff for homeschooling, right?
No, I'm not talking about classwork. I'm talking about actual sentences. Okay, so you would get a notebook, and she would give you at first there used to be sentences like "I will not steal" or "I will not answer back," and then it started being paragraphs on why you wouldn't do it. And the older you got, the more paragraphs you had to do. So by the time I was 15, I was doing from top to the page to the bottom of the page, and that would count as one page. So
Wow.
imagine one page, 2,000 pages from top to bottom. That's a lot of work.
She would do this if you were caught trying to steal food. When you say steal food, because I think you mentioned that the cabinets and such were not accessible to you. Talk about that.
The cabinets were not accessible. She did have locks on the cabinets. She had
Locks on the cabinets. But I still want to react to this. The fact that they would have to write top to bottom thousands of pages, thousands, just so that they can eat. Do you realize how many pages you have to write? How many pages can one write in one day? Like to write thousands of pages just so you can eat. It sounds like you got a lot, right? A lot of it sounds like you're not eating at all. It's a lot of days where you're not eating. It sounds like to me. Like you're just writing day and night. And at some point, it's just going to be gibberish, right? That's insane, guys. That's insane.
locks on the fridges.
Locks on the fridge.
She did have locks on all the doors, and the only time she would change them is when DSS came over for the boys. I remember, staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning, cleaning the house, and DSS would come over at around like maybe 10, 11 o'clock. And the whole house would be clean because we stayed up all night cleaning it. Now the boys would be asleep, but it would be Mariah or myself cleaning it. And we had to clean from top to bottom. And just imagine being hungry cleaning the house. And she would give us like drinks when the DSS ladies were there, but whenever they left, it was the exact same punishment. And she would have us rechange the locks and put the locks back on the doors. But even DSS knew that there were refrigerator locks and stuff like that. We sometimes would break in, and sometimes we would just steal what was ever convenient, whatever was on the counter. If she went grocery shopping, we would take the stuff in the back. I remember one time she bought over $3,000 worth of emergency groceries and put them all in the garage. And I stole every single thing in that garage and ate it until it was all gone. And it took me about 2 weeks. Days at a time. It was very horrible. There were days where we didn't go with showers. We didn't go with baths. The only time we could turn on the bathtub or the sink was to get water. And then there were times where we weren't even in the bathroom. There was a closet underneath the steps. In the Sluter Branch house, and we all crammed in there, the Blake, I, and London, and we stayed there. And the only time we took a bath or a shower was when we went out in public to go to grocery shopping.
Did you get a chance to tell the DSS person any of this?
No, I did not. No.
Like you were never alone with this person that came to check on you?
No. And they weren't checking on us. They weren't checking on us. They were there for the boys to finalize the adoption. They were coming over and having meetings and stuff like that with Ava. So there was never a time for me to say, hey, this abuse is happening. And plus, on top of that, I was honestly afraid to tell anybody.
That's interesting. Now, I don't know, maybe I missed that part. because I don't remember hearing anything about the DFS knowing about the locks, but that is something I'm probably gonna have to scroll back and listen to here in a second. But let's listen to the rest of this, guys.
The fact that I never received a phone call from anyone that was Blake, that's a lie right there. The other lies that were said were that he went to Walmart on, I believe it was Hamley and Morganton. That Walmart has been closed for 4 years. And if he would have left around that time that she said, it would have been closed. So that's a lie. And even the police officer or the police operator even said that place has been closed.
Yeah, I think the street was Ramsey Street. I think that was a Walmart that was there.
When she said the neighborhood mart, though, so I know exactly where she's talking about because it's only like 5 minutes away from the Eichelberger house.
Okay, so what you're saying is because the police report that the night we accessed the 911 calls through had like a different address. It had the Walmart address, but you're saying the 911 call had the neighborhood mart. So you're kind of saying, are you saying the story is not matching up from what?
It is definitely not matching up. And if she even still got the Ramsey Street Walmart, it just doesn't make sense because she said the neighborhood mart. There's no neighborhood mart on Ramsey Street except for the Pamela and Morganton. So that's a super Walmart. That's a major Walmart, not like a little convenience store. So even then she's mixing up her stories.
Yeah, my dogs are tripping right now. Sorry, guys.
Deven. So
dogs are tripping.
I think it's Slater Branch House that's in.
I'll roll that back a little bit.
The Pamela and Morganton mart. It just doesn't make sense because she said the neighborhood mart. There's no neighborhood mart on Ramsey Street except for the Pamela and Morganton. So that's a super Walmart. That's a major Walmart, not like a little convenience store. So even then she's mixing up her stories.
I want to talk just in terms of timeline of when you lived with Avantae Deven. So you mentioned at least it's Slater Branch House that's in Asheville, right?
Yes.
Literally. And then what houses did you live in to your remembrance of in Fayetteville?
We lived on Larkspur. Now I cannot remember the address. I believe it's 603 Larkspur, if I'm correct, or 604. We lived there first, and we were renting a house on Larkspur, and it was a blue house. We stayed there for less than maybe 6 months, and then that's when we moved to the Eichelberger.
So if you had to say anything to Avantae, if she could see this interview, I asked you this before, what would you say specifically to her? Because these are obviously some big allegations that you're saying here.
They're actually proven true by detectives and everything, but I want to ask her a question of why.
Yeah.
Why the lies of the names? Why adopt us all kids? Was it just for money, or was it actually because you wanted to adopt kids? It's time to come out. Like, stop hiding. You're digging yourself a deeper hole.
I got to scroll back because I am kind of curious about if DFS actually was there and saw, and saw the locks, you know what I mean, on the cabinets. So I'm just going to play a little bit from the middle here.
We sometimes would break in grocery shopping and put them all in the garage. And I stole every single thing in that garage and ate it until it was all gone. And it took me about 2 weeks. Days at a time. It was very horrible. There were days where we didn't go with showers. We didn't go with baths. The only time we could turn on the bathtub or the sink was to get water. And then there were times where we weren't even in the bathroom. There was a closet underneath the steps in the Slater Branch house. And we all crammed in there.
It's before this?
Blake, I, and London.
Hold on.
So by the time I was 15, I was doing from top to the page to the bottom of the page, and that would count as one page. So imagine one page, 2,000 pages from top to bottom. That's a lot of work.
She would do this if you were caught trying to steal food. When you say steal food, because I think you mentioned that the cabinets and such were not accessible to you. Talk about that.
Okay.
The cabinets were not accessible. She did have locks on the cabinets. She had locks on the fridges. She did have locks on all the doors. And the only time she would change them is when DSS came over for the boys.
Hold on. One more time.
Fridges. She did have locks on all the doors. And the only time she would change them is when DSS came over for the boys.
So the only time that those locks ever came down, because she knew, she knew, okay? She may be a devil, but she was a cunning one, all right? So she would take those locks down. She would change them whenever DFS came over to check on the boys. So there's that, okay? So it wasn't like they walked in and then, you know, DFS saw these locks. But let me play a little bit more.
I remember, you know, staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning, cleaning the house, and DSS would come over at around like maybe 10, 11 o'clock. And the whole house would be clean because we stayed up all night cleaning it. Now the boys would be asleep, but it would be Mariah or myself cleaning it. You know, and we had to clean from top to bottom. And just imagine being hungry cleaning the house. And she would give us like drinks when the DSS ladies were there, but whenever they left, it was the exact same punishment. And she would have us rechange the locks and put the locks back on the doors.
Hear that? Rechange the locks, put the locks back on the doors. Just so you guys know, okay? So with that being said, no. Those locks, at least from what she's saying to us right here, the locks were always taken down and switched out whenever they knew DFS were coming over to pay a visit to the house. Okay. So again, she, you know, this is not a dim-witted individual. Even though she's the devil, doesn't mean that she didn't think things through or get prepared before DFS came over. Because you got to remember, she even said at the end of this interview, she said, why? Why did she do these things? Why was she doing it? Was it just for the bag? Yes, it was for the bag. We already know that now. We can all agree that this was all for the bag and that she was a monster of a person. She didn't give a damn about these kids. It was a bag. And she only cared about the food for herself. She didn't feed these kids. These kids would have to fend for themselves, fight for themselves, steal inside their own home, write pages. I mean, 2,000 pages is a lot of pages. That means you ain't eating for like weeks, okay? So I don't know about all that. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit there and discredit somebody's experience. If they wrote thousands of pages, then maybe that's what they really did and starved themselves until they wrote, until this monster of a woman was satisfied. And maybe it was hundreds, if not thousands of pages. I don't know. But to write thousands of pages, that's 2,000 pages? Writing 2,000 pages? That's a lot of pages, guys. That's a lot of pages. But I mean, you know, that's the other thing too. What family puts locks on the food? Real talk. Shoot. Who does that? I'm just saying. It's very odd, guys. It's very odd indeed. All right. But we got more. Okay. We do most definitely got more. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys some more. So let's get into this. Hold on, guys. Let's get into it.
We return now to the disturbing case of the Deven family. The children's adoptive mother is accused of killing these children and concealing their deaths. Today, Avantae Deven stood before a judge just a day after her arrest.
WRL's Gilbert Bays joining us live now from Fayetteville. And Gilbert, you were inside the courtroom today. You heard what the judge had to say about these charges. Tell us what you heard.
Yeah, a very disturbing case. You know, the arrest comes several months after Fayetteville police executed search warrants and made gruesome discoveries at several of the homes where those children
I'll
used to
circle
live.
back.
As far as the appearance in court today,
Dreaming.
Avantae Deven
I'll
seemed
circle
very
back
calm
dreaming.
as she entered the courtroom, stood in front of District Court Judge Caitlin Evans, and the judge read the charges against her: 2 counts of first-degree murder, concealment of death, kidnapping, and felony child abuse. Investigators say Blake and London Deven are deceased. They had been missing for years, but their adoptive mother never reported that they were gone. Authorities say during their investigation, they found a metal burn barrel with partial human remains. They believe the children were physically abused by their adoptive mother. Investigators say London Deven died by starvation and neglect. District Attorney Billy West said the case is one of the most heinous he's ever prosecuted.
All of us have soft spots for children, and the cases with children are the most difficult that we deal with. So the fact that this involved allegations of the abuse and the death of children was certainly the thing that grabbed my attention first, particularly the manner in which the allegations suggest that they died.
Now, Avantae Deven remains held without bond. That did not change. That's how she was brought into court yesterday. She's going to make her next court appearance on July 17th. But if she's convicted on just the theft of charges, the murder charges alone, she could face the death penalty.
Just a horrific story.
Here we go. I mean, she could be looking at the DP. Real talk, and that is some serious ish. Let's keep it real. Hold on, let me bring this back.
Okay, so
Let me bring this back, okay? I want to see if she does continue saying that. I don't think she does. I don't remember her saying it, but you know, if I need to be corrected, then I'm corrected, okay? Let's listen to it one more again.
1,000 pages.
And again, please, guys, do not forget, again, hit that like button down below. Hit that follow button as well. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. Hit that subscribe button. Subscribe. We got another show this evening for you guys, and it's another case that really needs to be out here. And so it is a very important one. If you guys can be a part of it, I'll be on around 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on another show. 3 shows today. Okay, so we're gonna be working hard today. And there's a case that we need to talk about. 7:30 p.m. tonight. We will be live. You will have the updates about it here very shortly when I post when I set up the live. Okay, but it is a case that needs to be needs some attention. Okay. So just letting you guys know, okay? And okay. Well, SW, if you can't make it, I understand, okay? I know you're gonna be busy, all right? But still, we gonna talk, and we gonna cover this case, all right? So let's hear what she got to say, all right? Let's go.
From top to bottom. That's a lot of work.
She would do this if you were caught trying to steal food. When you say steal food, because I think you mentioned that the cabinets and such were not accessible to you. Talk about that.
The cabinets were not accessible. She did have locks on the cabinets. She had locks on the fridges. She did have
scrolling this up.
You know, and we had to clean from top to bottom.
Okay.
And just imagine being hungry cleaning the house. And she would give us like drinks when the DSS ladies were there. But whenever they left, it was the exact same punishment. And she would have us rechange the locks and put the locks back on the doors. But even DSS knew that there were refrigerator locks and stuff like that.
Oh, holy crap. I didn't hear that before. That's really interesting. So DFS knew about this ish? And that's crazy that was seconds later. Man. See, I stand corrected, okay? Lo siento, désolé. I am sorry. I didn't hear this before. But yeah, Ramona. Whoop, there it is. That's very interesting. Let's play that again.
But even DSS knew that there were refrigerator locks and stuff like that.
So if they knew that there were locks and stuff like that, why didn't DFS or DCFS do anything about this? Why didn't they do anything? You know what I'm saying?
We sometimes would break.
But then see, I guess I'm not the reporter here, okay? But I definitely would be pushing on that question. Like, why wasn't there? Are you telling me that they knew about the locks, or at least that these locks existed? Maybe they took them down before they showed up, but maybe the locks are still present, or like remnants of it being things, like a latch or something like that on the cabinets and on the refrigerator. Why wouldn't they report those things? That's very weird to me. Okay, so Lil Patty, you were right. I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? You heard that right. And we all heard it just now. That's crazy. Okay? That's most definitely crazy as well. All right? That doesn't make any sense. That stuff does not make any sense. Why wouldn't they report that? Why wouldn't they report that? That is very odd to me. Very, very odd to me. But okay. Okay. I mean, thank God this woman is locked up now. And thank God police did their due diligence and went back, right? But still. Crazy. Hold on. Let me make sure I got some stuff here. Let's see.
And there was no oversight of her. Nothing. Took them out of schools. Took them out of the doctor.
This is from the biological mother of Blake, just so you know. So let's take a listen to this. I'm kind of curious about this as well. All right. And of course, Lo siento dreaming of blue skies and sandy beaches. Okay. I didn't hear it when we first initially listened to that interview. That's very interesting, though. But that says a lot, by the way, really quick before we go into this. That says a lot about DCFS and their lack of doing the right thing, the lack of reporting. That's weird, guys. That's weird, y'all. That's weird. Okay. See, and Kelly C says funding. Okay. But at the same time, and I get what you're saying, but I have to say this because it's like my knee-jerk reaction. It doesn't cost money to report something like that, right? It's sure the funding's crap. I'm sure they don't get enough money, so on and so forth. But if you're there and you're seeing that there's locks on refrigerators and stuff like that, wouldn't that be a red flag? And wouldn't you report that, right? You know what I'm saying? Oh, okay. Hold on. It's all the way up here. I'm so sick of this happening to these babies. Funding. Unless I'm missing something. But anyway, yes. You see what I'm saying? Like, but it doesn't cost money to sit there and go, okay, I'm using my eyes. I see that there's a lock on the refrigerator. I see a lock on all the, I see remnants of something that would be locks on the cabinets and refrigerator. I'm just going to write this paperwork and send it in. It takes 2 seconds, right? You know what I mean? It takes 2 seconds. You feel me? But let's continue on, okay?
And there was no oversight of her. Nothing. Took them out of schools. Took them out of the doctors. Everything.
New tonight at 6, for the first time since the arrest of Avantae Deven, we're hearing from the birth mother of Blake Deven.
Yeah, Fayetteville police say that Blake Deven's adopted mom terrorized, killed, and then destroyed the bodies of both Blake and his sister London. Blake's biological mother tells CBS 17's Justin Moore that she cannot fathom any of this.
I am in shock, shattered. Sometimes I feel so in denial, like this isn't happening, this isn't real.
Felicia Chandler was looking forward to reuniting with her would-be 18-year-old son, Blake Deven. Now, she will never get that chance.
My child, why my child? Why any child?
Police say this woman, Blake's adoptive mom, Avantae Deven, beat and starved the 11-year-old at the time to death, dismembered his body, and burned it in 2017. Investigators say Avantae did the same thing to her adopted daughter, London, who had special needs.
Boo.
The puzzle will never
to Deven, not London, of course.
be put back together.
Hold on, I'm rolling that back. We want
special needs.
The puzzle will never be put back together. Ever. Ever. Because nothing from here on out is going to bring these kids back.
Chandler drove 5 hours to Fayetteville earlier this month seeking answers after Avantae reported Blake missing earlier this year. Chandler believes the state put her child in the hands of a monster over false allegations.
Scar on the side of my neck from where he was scratched me, clawing at me, begging me not to let them put him back in her car.
Deven is now facing 2 counts of first-degree murder, kidnapping, abuse, and destroying human remains charges. On Thursday, a Cumberland County judge sent Deven back to her jail cell without a bond.
And hoping and praying that at least she's in there and she can't never do this to anybody else.
In Fayetteville, Justin Moore.
Okay, I am kind of curious as to, I mean, let's be real. You know, I have to ask these questions because I just do. And I get it that sometimes, you know, the situation that a kid is in, they're being taken out of that situation because it's an unfit place or unfit home for that kid. And then they're put into foster care or they're put into the system. And then, of course, like in this situation, he and a lot of these other kids were very unlucky to cross paths with Avantae, right? But it does actually make you wonder what was the story with the mom, right? Or the father, if the father's still around, right? It does make you wonder what made him have to be away, right? You know, like I said, it's I got questions, guys. I got questions. But still, you know, it's heartbreaking to hear any of these things, especially when it comes to little kids, right? Real quick, some super chats here. Nana, thank you so much. Once the courts make it official, no one checks. Yeah, you got a point there too. You definitely got a point there. Jackie M, thank you so much for the support. Pascal, don't even know what to say about these heartbreaking cases anymore, but thank you for bringing them to them the attention they deserve. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, these are hard ones. These aren't easy, right? These are not easy ones to you know, none of these cases are easy, man. You know what I mean? I mean, Carly Russell was fun because it was all fake and that was comical, but everything else has not been, you know, doesn't have the same, right? Because that person was still alive. Everything that she said was fake and is all fictional crap, right? But it is still frustrating when you see, it's frustrating, you know? When all of these cases don't end with a happy ending, right? With or at least a victorious ending, meaning he's found, she's found, they are safe, and they're alive. A lot of times we don't find those cases like that. We find them like this one right here. It sucks. It's very tragic. Cornbread, what's up? This is so infuriating. Why are agencies not helping these children and visiting these homes with adopted children on a regular basis? Happens a lot. Yes, it does happen a lot. And I'm wondering why they don't do this on a regular basis. And I think that's what the call was, or the message was saying before. Funding. Part of it is funding. It is true. Kelly C, I think it was, that said it. Funding. Absolutely. If there was more money, there'd be more people, more people making house calls. Maybe some of them would be unannounced, impromptu house calls. So you'd have to make sure your issue's on point and you're not doing anything unthinkable like what these kids were going through. You know? That's what you hope. But again, it all comes down to we don't have enough monies. And it's like, yo, takes 2 seconds to take a photo, like somebody just said earlier in a comment. Takes 2 seconds to take a photo, put it in the paperwork and say, oh yeah, by the way, the refrigerator has a lock on it or has remnants of a lock on it. We may not see the actual lock, but it looks like they lock this refrigerator and possibly the cabinets. And that seems like a red flag to us. Just wanted to give it to you guys. Put it in the paperwork. Make sure it's in there. You know? Make sure it's known that people are actually that the people that come through are actually seeing that, right? The system failed this. The everyone, as Charlie Miller said, okay, everyone has failed all of these kids. Even the one that just was speaking just a little bit ago in her interview, telling her experience. She went through all of that. And the only good thing that came out of that is that she survived to tell the story. Some other kids are so broken that they're having mental health breakdowns. They're having mental breakdowns. Hence the reason why there was a 911 call made and him saying, I haven't seen my brother in 5 years. Because probably he saw these things happen with his own 2 eyes, which will break a person, that will break a young kid's soul, any person's soul. Suzanne, thank you so much for the love. Who is related to Department of Children's? I missed that in the chat. Who is related to the to Department of Children's? I don't know who is. That's maybe something that was said in the chat. I don't know. That would be news to me. Pretty Kitty, thank you so much for being a member for the past 3 months. I appreciate it. Thank you, Pascal, for covering these tragic stories. Hey, of course, we're here to talk about them, right? Nancy D, thank you so much for being a member for the past month. Thank you. Thank you, Pascal, for all you do. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate the support. But, at the end of the day, okay, we have these 2 kids. I mean, of course, they say London was an adult, but she obviously was special needs and she needed help, right? Maybe she had the mentality of someone younger, maybe. And it may have just been physical ailment, like couldn't move or something of that sort. I don't know. But still, nonetheless, the fact that this happened to these 2 does really break my heart. I think the system failed them. I think that the family, I think everything was failed. Everything fell apart when it came to protecting these 2 individuals. And actually, not only just these 2 individuals, all of those kids that were adopted by this monster. Avantae Deven, if that's her real name. I really do hope she gets exactly what she deserves. I know I say this a lot, but throw her under the prison. That's what I say. Bury her under that mother lover, because that's exactly where she deserves to be. And you know what's really sad about this is that there are other people out here just like Avantae, using their real names, living out here in these streets, treating our little kids like garbage, all so that they can secure a bag. And that's exactly what this woman, this piece of trash, in my personal opinion, did for a long time. And what's interesting is that she was doing this out there in plain sight. And it took the death of 2 young individuals to finally bring this woman down. I just want to say it's scary. I know I said it a million times before, but I just have to say it is scary how much there's little care and little focus on the kids that are in the system. I know there's a lot of them, but at the same time, we need to start caring. There's got to be a change, because this is not our first rodeo in covering stories like this. Some of them don't end in the demise of 2 children. Some of them are just absolute terrible child A, sometimes SA, and it just flies right under the radar. There needs to be a change. And by talking about it, conversing about it, bringing awareness about this particular case, I'm hoping I mean, you know, I'm always that whimsical mother lover, like thinking that the world will change after one story. Glass half full kind of guy. But I really do hope that the system is looking at this story and taking this and saying, okay, there is a real problem and we need to start implementing new protocol so that every single child is safe no matter what house they walk into. Here's the hope, guys. Here's the hope. Anyway, guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really does mean a lot. Shout out to every single one of you guys coming in and being a part of the conversation. I will be on tonight at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. We got a night show, and we are going to be having a conversation because we need to talk about this. And I wanted to talk about this before we walk into the 4th of July weekend, okay? Don't worry, I'm probably going to be on the 4th of July anyway, too. But still, we will be talking about a few things over the next couple days. But most importantly, I do need all of your ears and eyeballs on this particular show that we have tonight at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will be live, and we will be covering a very important topic and case that hasn't really been getting out there. And I'm hoping we can help spread the word and awareness on this particular individual's case. Okay? So we're going to talk tonight. So be sure to tune in. We're going to have quite the conversation. And there's a lot to talk about on that case too. So do me a favor, hit that like button down below on this one, okay? Hit that like button down below. If you're watching on Facebook, please be sure to hit that reaction button down below. If you haven't done it yet, follow me on all my social medias, okay? Facebook, X/Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Follow me on all those. Crush that subscribe button on my YouTube channel if you're watching over here. Please go over to my secondary channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Crush that subscribe button over on my secondary channel. We're almost at 5,000 subscribers over there, which is dope. Love to see it get to 5,000 before the end of this week. So be sure to hit that subscribe button over on my secondary channel. Of course, make sure when you do subscribe here and the other platform, the other channel, please be sure to hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it be random though. Okay? So please do that for me. And of course, if you want to support the channel, hit that join button down below on this channel. Become a member, okay? It's not super expensive, okay? But if you can, that'd be greatly appreciated. Or if you want to support even further, go to my Patreon. Patreon.com/The Pascal Show. It's coming back over right now. Go over there, show some love, show some support. That'd be amazing, okay? Anyway, guys, hopefully we get justice for those two, for Blake and London. I'm praying for that. And may this woman get buried under the doggone prison. May she never see freedom ever again. That's what I say. All right? But anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Oh, real quick. Kelly C., thank you so much for the support. See you at 7:30 Central Standard Time, okay? 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, okay? Kelly C., thank you so much for the support. Anyway, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. Much love, guys. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.